Hi, everybody. I hope this finds you healthy and well and with enough toilet paper, because apparently that's the key. All right. Now, I'm actually posting this a couple days earlier. The class officially starts on Monday. This is just so you can see what's coming. And if any of you are tired of Netflix and want to get started, well, you'll know exactly what you can do. Right. First things first, we lost 2 weeks. So basically, I cut out chapters 3 through 8 of The Righteous Mind and all of the posts and writings that we were going to be doing with it. And that is unfortunate because what I like about the book is it's not just his ideas, right? But the testing of them and how there were parts of academia that was like, no, 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 we don't want to hear it, blah, blah, blah. And that's one of the things that he had to fight to get this idea even out. And I think that's an important piece of the story, but we lost the time. Now, what we are going to do, I'm going to have you do, is this is a TED Talk at Google. And if you watch the first 37 minutes of it, you'll get an overview of a lot of the chapters that we're not reading. It's not even close. I mean, think about having 35 pages to talk about how this idea developed, what went into it, and then condense that to 3 minutes. It is not ideal, but it is better than just jumping to, as you'll see, chapters 9 and 10 with like, how did we get there? So, what I want you to do, the homework for Thursday will be to watch the first 37 minutes of this video. That's going to both refresh your mind, give you an overview, and we are going to read the end of the book though, and I think that's important. So when it comes to reading assignments, it's going to be chapter 9 and chapter 10, and you will notice it says chapter 9, chapter 10, and your next topic. So at the beginning of the semester, you were able to say, hey, here's a couple things I am thinking about. Now, with everything going on, maybe you want to change your topic, and that is totally fine because this is talking about your next paper. So not the humanity one, which we'll be wrapping up. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But this is the larger paper. You get to pick the topic that you want to write on. So as you're reading these chapters 9 and 10, I want you to think about what kind of connections can you make to the topic. So for example, 9 and 10, one of the things it's talking about is there's a hive mind, which is we all want to work together, and there's the individual. So if you were going to say, be thinking about this pandemic, you might be looking at, what parts of society, how do we, there's so many ways that we want to work together and make things better. And then there's also a part of us that's like, I'm not going to do what you're telling me to do. So there's the individual and actually how we need both, right? How we maybe need people to, um, for example, in the medical field, they are having to break rules, reset them because of things that are happening. The old system doesn't work. So whatever your topic is that you are thinking of, that you want to write about, read chapter 9, read chapter 10, see if that can start giving you ideas, things to think about. Because here's what I don't want you to do. I'm going to write about gun control and say everything everybody's already heard before. That's not good for you. That's not good for us reading it. I'm going to want you to, think about different perspectives and explore the issue in going past the obvious stuff, the things that, hmm, drugs are bad, okay? Clearly drugs aren't bad, right? Or we wouldn't be freaking out. It's because we don't have the right drug for this virus, right? So it's like certain drugs are bad. And then if you're really going to get into it, what are the drugs are bad? Well, which ones are you selling, right? So things are way more complicated, and we'll talk more about this as we move forward. You get to pick the topic for the next big paper. I'm going to make sure that you really look at it in multiple ways and get past your initial thoughts on it, because my guess is, and what has been proven out in 20 years of teaching that I've done, is the topic is way more interesting and complex than you already think it is, right? And clearly you're picking something that you're interested in. So we've got that interesting part. But I'm going to push you to go places, look at it in some ways you may not have thought about it. So for Thursday, really, we're going to get back into the righteous mind. This is going to cover what we've missed and read those chapters, post about it, thinking about your next topic. Now, while this is going on, right, through Thursday, I'm going to be reading everybody's paper, right, and you will want to make sure, and right now I only have 7, so I'm hoping a few more show up by Monday. Read the feedback of your fellow students, right? The revised version will be due next Monday. So that means, right, if you know some of your fellow students are said, hey, look, this part is, when you know you have to change it, go ahead and make the changes. But also know that by Thursday, I'll have feedback. You'll want to see mine too. Now, I also have a list of questions here for you to think about your next topic, right? We'll kind of have 2 tracks. Finishing up the humanity paper is one track. Then the other track is going into, okay, where am I going to go next? So think about your topic. Who are the experts, right? What are the ideas that they think are settled? Who's on the outside challenging them, right? What do they think is settled that shouldn't be? I mean, so think about it. A long time ago, right, a certain group of people had settled and it's official the earth is flat, right? Why that's come up and been popular for some people, who knows? But that was a settled idea. Who challenged it, right? Who channeled... So that's what I mean by that, because there'll be certain things that you think, well, that's just the way it is. Everybody agrees. And it's like, well, probably not, right? What's the most important things that are shaping the topic, right? What are the most things your topic is shaping? So, for example, you might ask yourself, this current pandemic, right? What's shaping our response? And then if you can start going into looking at it, and you'll see about how we've gutted the CDC and done all kinds of, moved hospitals, supplies to being super efficient, right? Which means they don't have a stockpile. So those are things shaping the topic. Now, what's your topic shaping? Well, then you could see all of a sudden how now the pandemic is making us relook at what we think about government, right? Think about how many people you know who are like, oh, government too big, doing too much. And now they're going, oh, please send me that check, right? Or isn't it a good thing that we are closing things down to stop this spread, etc. And a quick thing, because I mentioned something earlier when this first started. I think the most important thing to remember is it's really all about the hospitals and the ICUs, right? Because right now, say a hospital has 40 ICUs or rooms, right? Rooms for people who really need it. Well, because of regular illness, probably like in Minnesota, 35 of them are already filled, which means they only have capacity for another 5 more critical people. And once you get past that capacity, now people have to decide literally who lives and who dies. That's the big deal with this virus, because if we have a spike and all of a sudden, right, 200 people need to be in ICUs and we only have 180 ICUs in the area, some people aren't going to... We're going to have to decide, and not us, right? The people in the hospital are going to have to decide who lives and who dies. And that's what I think the biggest thing that we're fighting about. And we can go into all kinds of looking into what's the proper response, which we'll never even know, right? But what do we think is the best response and who's shaping what? Now, when it comes to the paper, this video here will show you the old rubric, which is I just want you to get something done. The new rubric, more sophisticated, asking for more things so you can watch it. The other thing that I've added right here is, of course, well, not of course, but counseling services do everything from academics to career to personal. So if things have been thrown out of whack, right, like you're wondering about next semester or work or whatever, we have virtually counseling set up, and that's a handout that will walk you through it. Now, I'm going to be using Zoom in all of my other classes because I had to change them from in-person to online. So, but there might be some ways it makes sense for us maybe to communicate through Zoom, maybe some one-on-one meetings. So there's a little bit about your Zoom account worth checking out, because as a student, you now have a Zoom account through Sentry, and it's one of the nicer ones. You could actually put on a meeting of 300 of your closest friends or 500 people for a webinar. All right, and then we've talked a little bit about this, but this is a strict video just on the different streaming services. And one of the things that, in addition to, hey, there's some cool movies in here, there's some really nice documentaries. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do in your new topic is to see what's out there. So if you're interested in ancient Aztec ruins, there's probably a documentary you can find that will give you some more information on it. So these are just some other additional stuff, which is from a little bit of the past. Yes, I just checked my list. I think I have covered everything. This video will get posted right here. Welcome back, right? We will be back to our Monday, Thursday schedule, just like we were doing, right? Starting Monday. Stay as safe as you can. Wash your hands. Oh, I almost forgot. When you go to our discussion section, and I'm going to move this up, I do have a discussion board. This will be moved up once I get done with this video. That here's a place where you can do a couple different things. One is it's nice to connect, right? So you can, and you'll notice this has been up a while. Nobody, I think, has been on the site. You can say what's going on. You can also make recommendations of, hey, as long as you're stuck in your room, you could watch this. Or, right, say you have a really cool arts and crafts kind of thing, right? Or just things you're doing to get by. Our little social board to just kind of check in and be human. All right. We're back in. And I'm glad. I look forward to getting this thing started again and getting our minds kick-started and seeing what you're interested in and looking at it from multiple viewpoints.